Okay, people. So we have a new, very quirky indie comedy for you today. It is called Dad and Stepdad. Right? It is from Tynan DeLong, who co-writes with Colin Burgess and Anthony Oberbeck. The film is produced by Sarah Wilson, Graham Mance, Graham Mason, executive produced by Colin Burgess, Tynan DeLong, Anthony Oberbeck, Ike Rolfe, John Connor Hammond, and Richie Doyle. Yeah, that's right. Haven't missed anyone out. Celia Hollander handles the music. Johnny Froman, cinematography. DeLong, Burgess, and Oberbeck all edit the piece. Nell Simon handled costume design, and Nagis Shirazi also helped out with the music. Our cast, well, we have got Colin Burgess as Jim. Anthony Oberbeck is Dave, right? They're the dads. Branson, the son, is played by Brian Fiddyment. And the mother, Susie, the wife, is played by Claire O'Kane. Okay, so the gist is this. We follow Jim and Dave on a weekend together at a cabin upstate to bond with their 13-year-old son, Branson. Tensions mount, however, as differing parenting techniques come to the fore. Dum. So this is the feature directorial debut, right, from Tynan DeLong. And the other thing is, it's based on a short film. Now, I'm not sure if it was just one short or a series of shorts, right? But DeLong, Burgess, and Oberbeck had created, the short in 2018. 2018. Took a minute to get, everyone together, as these things do on the indie scene. But they did this. And Fiddyment also was in the 2018 short. So essentially, it was the old team getting back together. They just added Claire O'Kane to the mix, and pow, right? We've got an 85-minute feature. It's very quirky, as mentioned. Now, what I believe, the dialogue is improvised. Now, I don't know if they improvised it on the spot or through rehearsals. They kind of, worked it all out, right? There's improvising, right? But then there's, you don't have anything firm, but you understand what this scene is meant to do, right? You have the broad strokes, and then you just work out, how you navigate to that point, which I do believe it shows, right? And I'm not saying that in a bad way, right? Because there's some scenes that where the language, you're just thinking, I don't know if a 13-year-old is saying that, right? But it still works. It still works throughout this. Like, this is very, very uncomfortable, right? It's very uncomfortable. There's a tension in the air that's palpable, right? That's good, right? Because when you understand what this is, right, it's a dad coming, right, for a weekend away with, his ex and her new husband and their son. I don't know, like, do you want to do that? Right? That's there's always going to be some sort of tension there unless you're all super best friends. Now, they're not, right? They're not. So throughout, we have this passive aggressive, just, you know what I mean? Those situations where you're trying to you know what I mean, say fuck you, but you're doing it in a way like, hey, oh, oh, did your wife dress you? You know what I mean? Basically, you're saying someone ain't got no dress sense, but it is said in a way that's kind of like, you know, it's just full of that. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I'll cook the hot dogs even when someone else has already started cooking the hot dogs. And it's just like, I know what's best for Branson. I know what he likes. And it's just this back and forth that's super uncomfortable, like, which is perfect, right? It's perfect. Because if it was anything else, it that wouldn't feel right for what this is. As I said, like, if they were super best friends, it's going to be something completely different. But for it to work in this context, it's got to be uncomfortable, right? But it can't be aggressive. It can't be insane, So they really nailed it, right? It's funny because, Brian Fiddlement is, yeah, obviously, Brian ain't 13. He's not 13. But he does capture the essence of a 13-year-old very well, you know? I I mean, yeah, I don't know how many 13-year-olds he hangs out with on the daily. Hey, he might have his own kid, right? He might have his own kid, but yeah, but he did nail it. Brian did nail it, so that's great. Now, yeah, because you think if you do it like this, you can, cuss, right? You can do certain scenes. There's a scene where they're smothering him with sun cream, but it's in that weird way where they're both doing it, So it's just like, oh, I know how much. Like, no, I'm doing it the right way. No, I'm doing it this way. If that was an actual little 13-year-old, that'd be super fucking weird. But because it's an adult, you can do that shit, right? It's just like there's one conversation, and they're like, you know what? It's great. We work together. We'll double team Branson. Yeah, let's double team him. And you're just like, oh no, right? You're just saying that kind of stuff around an actual 13. Like, yo, that'd be super weird. But it works, and it really does work just because Brian nails the interpretation of the kid. Now, I said there are some moments where you've been like, I don't know if a 13-year-old is actually saying it like that, but it still kind of fits. The introduction of Susie, Claire did everyone did a great job here. Everyone did a great job. Just those interactions, all the interactions felt real. Like the conversation she has with Branston, like, oh yeah, when I used to play with Beanie Babies. I mean, the Beanie Baby story is wild. I'm just like, yo, what? Like, how does that work? I don't know. That's weird. You know what I mean? But yo, it was a great job of making a kid feel comfortable. Yo, so just all of these little things work. All of these things work really well. And you can see there is this great chemistry, as I said, between the actors, right? So you buy the relationships of these made up characters. And that goes such a long way, right? You can see that DeLong and these guys have worked together for a while because they've got that chemistry, which enables you to do an improvised script, right? Because you've had so many repetitions, right? There's so many reps here that you're able to know what the other person is thinking, how the other person will react to something, and you can all put it together. So this was enjoyable. I mean, it's weird, right? It's weird. As I said, there's this anxiety, right? You know what I mean? It's that, but for what this is, that's perfect, right? So it is a fun watch. It's a fun watch, right? It's that one where you know what I mean? It just makes you chuckle, makes you smile. Like, I'm not laughing out loud, but I mean, yo, it made me smile. This made me smile because it's just weird. It's weird, but in a good way, people. In a good way, right? So it's getting its full release on the 22nd of March, Friday. You know what I mean? You'll be able to get it on, all those VODs, Apple, Amazon, all of that stuff. It is currently available on No Budge, right? Which is a streaming platform, which has just gotten it into distribution, supposedly. So yeah, maybe go check it on there, right? Support the indies, support those things that are giving indies this opportunity. Why not? You know what I mean? So yeah, you can find it on No Budge, right? Or anywhere else where you get your films. But yeah, no, um, Dad and Stepdad. Dad and Stepdad. It's fun, and it did have. There are these really nice little, as I said, like there's the conversation between Branson and his mum Susie. Like there's a conversation between Jim and Dave. There are these nice moments, but with some of these nice moments, they you know what I mean? It's someone says too much, right? Or something's held too long. So it still makes it a bit weird and uncomfortable, right? Which is, yeah, just perfect. It's just a natural thing when you have people that just find it difficult to function. It is kind of crazy as well when you think, because Jim and Dave do look very similar. So Susie definitely seems to have a type. But yeah, Dad and Stepdad on your VODs from Friday the 22nd of March. Go check.